But that's the reality, it's the truth. What to do? It's not my opinion, so please don't blame me. I'm simply repeating the words of the scriptures. Then the beauty, zero. Prestige, zero. House, position, power, everything we have, you can use in Krishna's service. One time when I was giving this example, somebody said, how can we use beauty in Krishna's service? I was thinking, yeah, good point. Then I remembered that in Prabhupada's time, when I first came to Krishna consciousness, I used to read Back to Godhead magazines. So there was this cover story of this one lady who was a beauty queen, some Miss World or Miss something, whatever it was. And then she became a devotee. And that caused a sensation. Because she was such a famous person, such a beautiful lady. And then she suddenly became a devotee. So then in that country, I think it was Denmark or somewhere, then Hare Krishna became a very popular word. Because such a beautiful lady has become a devotee, a famous lady. So I'm just giving an example of how everything when connected to Krishna can become actually valuable. Otherwise, this beauty of this body, how long will it last? For a few years and then it's gone. So therefore, the valuable things, the things that we consider valuable in this world are not really valuable because we don't connect them to Krishna, the absolute truth. But if we connect them to Krishna, then they all become very valuable. So, when Prahlad is speaking this verse, he is saying that people generally consider the things of this world to be valuable independent of the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. And therefore, their efforts are doomed to fail. So, Bahi Arthamaninaha, they think of these things as being valuable, and therefore they strive to attain them. And because they have no spiritual understanding, they often commit very sinful activities in the process. And because of the sins, they have to go to hell. They have to live in hellish conditions of life, and after death also they will attain to hellish conditions. Then Prahlad says, Andhar yathandhai rupaniyamana te pishatam prayam nibaddhaha. So he then says that most people in the world are like this. They simply consider the external objects of this world valuable. They have no spiritual conception of life. So therefore they are spiritually blind. Materially they may have very good eyes, but spiritually they are blind. They have no spiritual vision of life and of the world. And you have this scenario of those who are blind leading other people who are blind. The blind leading the blind. There is a very famous painting in Europe. I don't know who's that, I forget the name of that famous poet. I think Picasso or Rembrandt or one of these very famous painters of Europe of the medieval ages. And this painting shows one blind man holding another blind man's hand. And the first blind man is moving the head. The second blind man is holding the first blind man's hand. Then a third blind man is holding the second blind man's hand. And there is a chain of blind people walking. And in front of the first blind man, there is a big ditch. So you can understand what is going to happen now. What will happen? The first blind man is going to fall in the ditch because he can't see. And when he falls in the ditch, because he's pulling the other one, the second man will fall in the ditch, and then the third man, and then the fourth. So Prahlad says, Andha yathandhe. Yatha means as. So just as when a blind man leads another blind man, they both fall in the ditch, so also Prahlad says, our leaders in this world, leaders of various sorts, are all spiritually blind. Therefore, they're leading the public and their dependents and followers who are also spiritually blind. The blind, the spiritually blind are leading the spiritually blind, and therefore they fall into a hellish condition of life. So this is the condition of society. Because the leaders of society, whether it's political, social, and domestic, and so on, are spiritually blind, the followers are also don't know anything about spiritual knowledge. So everybody, the whole society is moving in a hellish condition of life. This is the unfortunate situation. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told this little humorous story of one man who was approached by a priest. And he said, the priest told him, "You are drinking alcohol, you will go to hell." So then this person said, "Really? What happens in hell?" He says, "So much suffering in hell." He said, "Really? So will I go alone to hell? What about the others who are drinking? What about X, Y, and Z?" He started naming different people. So what about him? He drinks, he will also go to hell. Then he named his other friend. What about him? He drinks, he will also go to hell. And that person, he is a gambler. What about him? He will also go to hell. That person is a womanizer. What will happen to him? He will go to hell. So this way, this man names all his acquaintances and all the big people in the society also he names. And each time the priest says, he will also go to hell. So the drunkard then says, "Oh, that hellish pandemonium, then what a wonderful place hell is." We will all be together in hell and drinking and gambling and womanizing, and it will be so nice in hell. So they're all going to a hellish condition of life, but because they're together doing that, they think it will be a very comfortable situation. So Srila Prabhupada talks about it as being a state of comfortable misery. Do you understand this? Comfortable misery. They don't even understand how miserable they are. That is the most unfortunate situation. Human beings have the capacity to understand their own misery. If they don't understand, then they are like animals. The animals cannot understand or analyze their own situation. They are too preoccupied with the present. Just eating, sleeping, mating, defending for the moment. They don't have much of an analysis. But the human being's peculiarity is that even when he is happy, he thinks when he is miserable, he thinks he is happy. This is what the Bhagavatam says. So even if a human being is in misery, he imagines, "I am happy." If you see a drunkard, he may be lying on the street. His body may be bruised because of having fallen down on the street. His clothes may be torn. And he may be lying there just like that on the street in a drunken condition. And if someone goes and talks to him, the drunkard will not feel that he's in a bad condition. If you talk to a drunkard, what will he say? He will think you are unhappy. He will think, "I'm very happy, I'm all right. I'm very blissful." But as a sober person, you can analyze his condition. Is he actually happy? What is his condition? He's miserable, isn't it? So why is he not able to understand his miserable condition? Why? Why? Out of his senses. Why? Because he's intoxicated. Because of that state of intoxication, he has lost his intelligence. Therefore, he has lost his capacity to understand his own miserable condition. And he thinks, even in that miserable condition, that I am happy. So in this world also, people are miserable. but they think they're happy. That means they are intoxicated. Intoxicated with what? The desire for sense gratification. This is the problem. Prahlad says elsewhere, Matirna Krishne Paratasvato va mitho vipatye krihavatana Adanta gopi vishatam tamishram punah punascharvita charvanana. Prahlad Maharaj explains that there are some people who have taken a vow that I will simply enjoy this world. This is my goal of life. Griha vratanam. Griha vrata, whose vrata or vow is to enjoy this world. No interest in spiritual life. And even if someone tries to explain to them about Krishna consciousness, that Krishna mati or that inclination towards Krishna doesn't develop. Adanta gopir vishatam tamishram, and therefore in that state they go towards a hellish condition of life. Punah punascharvita charvanam, they go on trying to enjoy that which they have already enjoyed in so many lifetimes in the past. Once Srila Prabhupada was in Australia and he was sitting in the car on the back seat, and one more devotee was sitting with him, and the other devotees were driving and they were moving. And as they were going along the street, it was a bright summer afternoon and everybody was in a mood of enjoyment. In Australia they like their sports and they like their surfing and they like such things. They like to live the good life. So people were walking on the street. It was a sunny day, afternoon, maybe a weekend, and they were all going to the beach and so on. And then this devotee saw a tear coming down from Prabhupada's eyes. So Prabhupada said, the devotee asked him, Prabhupada, there's tears in your eyes. Is there any problem? So Prabhupada looked outside the window and he said, look, these people are so miserable. So this devotee looked out and he said, you don't look miserable. Going with a surfing board and they're going, seem happy in the bathing outfits and they're going to the beach and maybe he's carrying some liquor bottle with him or something and going along. They don't seem to be unhappy. And yes, that is the problem. They think they are happy, but actually they are in deepest ignorance, deepest misery. So the intoxication of sense enjoyment, Maya is so strong that Maya makes us believe even in our state of misery that we are comfortable. Therefore Srila Prabhupada said, comfortable misery. So the leaders of this world in all different areas, not just political leadership, we are talking about all types of leaders. Because they are spiritually blind, and the people they are leading are also spiritually blind, so the society is moving towards a hellish condition of life. They are all bound, as Prahlad says, Isha Tantriyam Urudam Baddhaha. Baddhaha refers to the state of bondage. Isha Tantriyam. Isha means the Lord. Tantra refers to the laws or the rules or restrictions, regulations. Urudamni. Uru refers to the way, the Damni means the rope. So, or the Dam refers to the weight and the Uru refers to the rope. So it is like people in this world are bound by the belly, by the ropes of the laws of the Supreme Lord, of the laws of material nature. So the laws of material nature are very stringent, very harsh. Even if a small child goes and touches the fire will not think, this is only a poor innocent child. I should not burn this child. No. If the child touches the fire will still burn the child. The laws of nature have no emotions, no compassion. Actually, that's the compassion of the Lord. But from our point of view, they may deal very harshly. So therefore Prahlad says, in this world today, because Those who are leaders are spiritually blind, therefore they're leading the public also towards a very hellish condition, and such is not the platform of true leadership. True leadership is one in which the leaders have been the best followers. Best followers of whom? The best followers of the great saintly people. And those great saintly people have been followers of saintly people before them. And in this way there is a parampara, or a disciplined succession of saintly people. And their teachings and their examples and their lives are not based on whimsy, on some whimsical understanding, but they are based upon the scripture. Guru Sadhu Shastra. So this is a very, very important principle, that true leadership is that which leads the dependents to a very beneficial result or a destination. One does not become a leader simply by influencing people, by charisma or some other means. The important point is, what destination are we leading our followers to? If that is not a favorable or a beneficial destination, then what is the value of our leadership? It can only be very harmful. Therefore King Rishabdev in the Srimad Bhagavatam explains, Guru na sasyat, svajano na sasyat, janani na sasyat, na pita na sasyat, daivam na tatsyam, na pati na tatsyam, na mochiyeta samupeta vrityam. That unless one can deliver one's dependence from the cycle of birth and death, one should not become a guru, one should not become a relative, one should not become a mother, one should not become a father, one should not become a demigod, one should not become a husband. Now this is a great responsibility. All these are positions of leadership. These are all leaders that Rishabdev Maharaj is mentioning. And one will become a responsible leader or a true leader only if one can deliver one's dependence from the cycle of birth and death. Otherwise, one has failed in one's responsibilities as a leader. One is not a true leader. So when we talk of leaders, leadership is a very big topic. And what all of you said in response to my question as to what is the most important qualification of a leader, all the answers that you gave are perfectly correct. That is true. But unless this one principal qualification is not considered, all those other qualities may be in vain. And this is that one must follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas. One's leadership must be on the basis of the scriptures or the word of God. Therefore, in the Srimad Bhagavatam and many other places it is mentioned that one should follow in the footsteps of the great devotees. Mahajano yena katasya pantha. Mahajans are the great persons, the great personalities. In the Nectar of Devotion also Rupa Goswami says, Sadhu Vartmanu Vartanam. One should follow in the footsteps of the great sadhus. Then one becomes a real leader. If one whimsically tries to lead other people, even if one may be very charismatic or capable or intelligent, one will lead them to a very unfavorable destination. So these are very important and nice points that Srila Prabhupada is making here. Another point Prabhupada makes here in the purport is that a leader must be an acharya. Acharya means one who teaches by example. The word is acharan. Yad yad acharati shresthaha. The word achar means not pickle, means behavior, example. Someone, yes, yes, I like achar, I like good achar. But this means proper behavior, acharan. Even the word brahmachari, brahma acharati iti brahmachari. One whose behavior is in accordance with Brahma or spiritual life, the absolute truth. That is brahmachari. So the word acharan is very important. The word acharya means one who teaches by his acharan or by his own behavior. And Prabhupada says here in the purport, a leader cannot teach the public to stop smoking if he himself smokes. But that is something impossible to imagine nowadays. That a leader will not smoke, he will not drink. When one of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disciples was sent to London, two of them went actually, and they happened to meet one of these lords, not the real lord. You know, in England they have false lords. Lord so and so, Lord so and so. And one time I was at a symposium, and there was a justice from the Supreme Court whose name was Justice Lord something, Lord Krishna something else. His name included the word Krishna, so he was called Justice Krishna or Lord Krishna. So there was another devotee who was there in the assembly. He says, my Lord, because in the court, you see, you address the judges as my Lord. This is our Lordship. Krishna has already spoken, but now I will quote from another Lord Krishna, who is the real Lord Krishna. And that retired judge also had a good laugh. He didn't take offense to it. So anyway, so these other lords are not real lords. The real Lord is Lord Krishna, God. So when they spoke to this Lord, and he said, I also would like to become a devotee like you and become a brahmana like you. Can I become? He said, yes, certainly. So what do I have to do that? He said, well, you have to follow 4 regulative principles. What does that mean? Well, no liquor, that is no intoxication of any sort, no illicit sex, no gambling, no meat eating. He said, oh, that's impossible. We will forget about it. So today's leaders, if you talk such principles, then they will say, no, it's not possible. One time there was a sadhu, and this lady came to this sadhu with her son. And she said, please tell my son, he eats too many sweets. Every day, all day long, he just wants to gobble sweets. So please tell him, he will spoil his health, it will become very bad for him if he continues these bad habits. So the sadhu thought for a moment, looked at the child and said, okay, come after 1 week. So then the lady thought maybe he's going to do some miracle or something. So she came next week again with the son. So then the sadhu met the son with the mother, and he told the son, please, don't eat sweets, alright? Then he told the mother, now you may go. I may go? Yes, I have done what I had to do. So she said, but you just told him one sentence, don't eat sweets. That you could have told him last week also. So why didn't you tell him last week? So he replied, you see, till last week, I was also eating sweets. Well, not that he was eating sweets all the time, but he was eating sweets. So he said, if I'm eating sweets, then how can I tell this boy to stop eating sweets? So therefore, from the time he came last time, I have stopped eating sweets. So now I can tell him. So my words will have some potency.
first example is of course one of Krishna consciousness. It's a big topic, but I want to lead the way because I said that we should not sleep too late. I keep telling everybody, don't sleep too late because everybody today, nowadays, they sleep at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, very late. So I should also lead by example. If I go on and on and on, then it will become very, very late. So we need also some time for questions and answers. So we will stop here at this time. Hare Krishna.